Well, I'm sure many of us would as well. Let's hope for their sake that that's what happens here. And wouldn't that be a great win for Trump on his first day in office? Well, look, Trump posted an amusing AI image of himself with the Canadian flag presiding over a rocky mountain range in Canada. This was just days after Trudeau met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, where Fox News senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy detailed this funny exchange.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
There's been a lot of speculation over what that image Trump posted really means. What's your take?
This is a negotiation. Look, I heard the same story. It made me smile. I've heard those exact sort of words come out of his mouth so many times. He's sort of jesting. He's sort of not. Believe me, he doesn't want Canada as the 51st state. But he's making a point, which is, look, if you really are telling me, as Justin Trudeau, if you're really telling me that your nation's existence depends upon you taking advantage of us to the tunes of $100 billion a year in a trade imbalance, then you shouldn't be a country. Now, that's a harsh message to deliver, and it's delivered in sort of a joking fashion, but that's Donald Trump being Donald Trump. And I'm certain that it got Justin Trudeau's attention. Trump is deadly serious about fixing the trade imbalances between U.S. and Canada, U.S. and Mexico, fixing the immigration difficulty that we have along our northern border, which doesn't get nearly as much attention as the southern border. But yeah, that's just Trump using a little bit of humor with a little nod and a wink to sort of get people's attention. And I'm certain that it got the Prime Minister's attention up in Ottawa.
Well, it certainly got our attention here in Australia too. Kamala Harris has become the first presidential candidate since 1932 to fail to flip a single county in the general election. Mick, the Democrats must be driving themselves crazy dissecting how their campaign went so wrong.
They are. Listen, my part of me derives a little bit of pleasure from it. It's always nice to see the other side, killing themselves over this. My party went through the same thing in 2008, to a lesser extent again in 2018. Every time you lose a big election, you lose an election you didn't expect to lose. They thought they might lose the White House. They didn't expect to lose like this. They thought they would win control of the House of Representatives. They did not. So across the board, it's a major disappointment for the Democrat Party here in the United States of America in sort of the days after the November election. I don't think, Caroline, that they've yet figured out that it's their message that's the problem. What I'm hearing from my Democrat friends, and I do have them, is our message was wrong. We just can't convince people that what we're doing is right. They really believe that their policies are correct, when I think it's their policies that people are rejecting. But we'll figure it out. Look, the Democrats went through this after Ronald Reagan and again George Bush in the first term, and they came up with Bill Clinton. We went through this with Barack Obama. We came up with Donald Trump. You'd never know who the Democrats will find. They might not find anybody, but it remains to be seen. Right now, they are struggling like all parties do when they lose badly.
Yes, they're probably not the best losers. Look, just quickly, Trump will travel to Paris this weekend after accepting Emmanuel Macron's invite to attend the reopening of the newly restored Notre Dame Cathedral 5 years after a destructive fire. Mick, what's the significance of this trip?
Yeah, this is not getting nearly enough coverage, or it's getting coverage from the wrong angle. So very quickly, I was on Air Force One with President Trump in, I believe, 2019 when that cathedral burned. And we watched it together on live television on the airplane, and he was visibly moved by the history that was gone, by the culture that was being destroyed. I'm not going to say he was moved to tears, because that's not who he is, and I didn't see him do that, but he was emotionally moved by the experience. And it doesn't surprise me that he's going back. This doesn't have anything, I think, to do with Macron, what's happening in France, anything with Europe. I think he was just touched by the experience and wants to see the reopening of that iconic cathedral. So I'm glad to see him go. I'm glad he gets a chance to go as the president-elect of the United States to represent the country.
Yeah, full circle moment for him. Thank you for that insight, and thanks for your time, Mick Mulvaney.
Thank you, Caroline.